You're going to have to drop the pan down. A lot of times we'll take this little cover off. Sometimes we don't have to. And you'll have to push this bracket over as far as you can against the front drive shaft so that the pan will move down out of there. Look inside that pan. The pan looks pretty good. The fluid's a little bit brown, but the pan doesn't have anything in the bottom of it. Cody's gonna drop the filter down. We're gonna take a look at this. So 09 up is the wiring harness that you would want if your neutral safety switch is on the inside of the transmission. So we've unplugged it here, and we've unplugged it up in there. There's a little clip that Cody's taken out right there. See that clip? It holds that solenoid in. Take that out, and that way you can get the two 10mm bolts that hold your lockup solenoid in. Back here, stick that clip in there so you don't lose it. Stick the clip back on your solenoid, that way you don't have to worry about losing it. We have to take this accumulator servo off in the back to get the solenoid out, just to let you know that that does have to come off there. And Cody's going to drop this lockup solenoid out. I'm calling it a lockup solenoid, but it'll probably be listed when you're looking at it as a torque converter clutch. So you're looking at a TCC solenoid. This is what it'll look like. But it is made into the wiring harness, so it comes with the new wiring harness. Let me show you. So you can see it is in with the new wiring harness. And again, this is a 2009 up. Alright, Cody's trying to get up in there with a 5/16 8mm. There's a little bolt. I'm going to show you how that holds that on there once he gets it down out. Once he gets that out, then he just slides the solenoid back. But what we're going to do is look at the, there's the solenoid. I'm going to go over here to the bench and I'm going to show you how that all hooks together with that little bracket. Alright, so now you're going to want to pull your wiring harness off. What I'm going to show you, you see that arrow? That arrow points down straight to the side just like that when it snaps in. It'll only snap in one way. So watch pushing down on that too hard, because what you can do is you push this too hard and it'll pop down and you'll have a bad leak right there, and your vehicle will feel like it is stuck in third gear because the wiring harness is not touching any connectors. So you'll want to make sure that you get that wiring snapped down on her right when you go back with this. But anyway, what I want to show you is around the sides of that connector, you see these little tabs that push in. Those little tabs push in, and that's what releases the connector and drops it down out of there. Now we've got a new wiring harness, so we don't care if we break those clips. It doesn't matter to us because we're going to put a new wiring harness, and this one's going in the trash. Okay, so we got our old wiring harness off. We're going to start putting our new one on. I'm going to show you some tricks, things that'll make it a little easier for you putting this back on. So let's start getting our new wiring harness back on here. Okay, so what you want to do is put a little bit of grease around that green seal there. And that'll help slide up in there. Some people put a little bit of silicone around that. I wouldn't put a lot of silicone, but I have seen people put a little bit of silicone. It works really good too. So anyway, let's get it put up in the transmission. All right, so you'll see that the flat part of the connector will only go one way. You have to just kind of work it around up in there until you get it to snap all the way up in there. You see the little tabs are above the transmission case. Those little tabs right there above the transmission case, and you can push it back down. You can't push the plug in back out. Those little tabs are holding, so that's what you want. And now you can start putting your accumulator servo back on and the solenoids. Okay, so once you get your EPC solenoid up in there, and I usually just grab it right here and just move it like that a little bit, not putting much pressure, just kind of moving it. That's where it's locking in to that bracket that holds it on there. If it doesn't do this, if it spins all the way around, you might want to recheck your bracket and make sure that you have that on there right. But that's the way it should be, just like that right there. These are your two shift solenoids back here. They're clipped in just like the other solenoid. Okay, so as you can see, this transmission does not have a pressure switch, which usually is bolted in this area. This transmission does not have one because it is a 2010 model, and the pressure switch had already been taken off of them at that point. You just want to make sure you get the right filter on there when you're doing this job. Okay, so when you're plugging this back up, you'll see how that arrow is pointing straight over to you. You've got, and you just pull down on it. Until you feel it clip in, and then you'll have it. If that arrow's over to the side, don't push down too hard or you'll break these clips off. And the pan bolt's back in it. Got our solenoids, got our wiring harness, filter, all replaced. So I also have links below if you want to use any of the products that we use. Just click on the links below. It'll let you know, how much this project might cost you. If you don't have a scan tool, just pull your battery cable off for about 30 seconds and place it back on, and that'll reset your code so that you won't have, if the code is still in there, then the vehicle is going to act the same way with the harsh shift. So you want to get that code out of there, and if you don't have a scan tool, then you're not going to be able to get the code out of there unless you unhook your battery cable. So make sure you unhook your battery cable to get the code out, or hook the code scan tool up to it and erase the codes that way. But the codes do have to be out of there or it's still going to shift hard.